All right. Well, hey, hello, buenos dias, everybody. Good morning. I hope your first few days of the session have gotten off to a pretty good start. And as I mentioned to you back on Monday, I'd give you another video in which I talk a little bit more in detail about the class. So that's what I'm going to do. So sit back, have some coffee or tea, or if you go to Starbucks, or maybe you're at a Starbucks right now, get your macchiato, your cappuccino. That's actually my favorite. Cappuccino and a donut. That's kind of my standard every Starbucks I go to, whether it's especially the ones around Grossmont College. And for these next 20 plus minutes to 22 minutes, let me go and tell you a little bit more about what the class is all about. We'll go over everything in terms of what's in the syllabus, the assignments, the discussion board. I'll talk about the two books, the quizzes, the final, the podcast journal assignment, and everything else in between. All right. Well, first off, before I get going, I just want to comment quickly on who these champions are that I'm too much. Speaking of coffee, I had a couple of cups just before I recorded this video. Uh, this is actually when the Tigers won the American League Central Division in 2011. So this was before they went to the World Series in 2012, where of course the Giants manhandled them, for lack of a better term, in a four-game sweep. And of course the Tigers had a good chance to knock out the Red Sox, but they blew that game in which they had a 5-0 lead. And of course the Red Sox went on to win the World Series since then. So even though the Tigers have had some pretty good luck, had some really good seasons about the past 10 years, still having a bit of a trouble in the playoffs, and right now the way it looks, the Royals appear to be overtaking them. So I'm not too sure. I had my doubts that Tigers would really be that consistent. I'm thinking the Dodgers probably have a better chance of going into the series and actually winning it. Of course, those of you who are rooting for the Nationals, the Braves, the Orioles, even the dreaded Yankees will probably take issue with me about that. But we'll definitely talk more about baseball as we get closer toward the fall classic. All right. Well, listen. Let me go and tell you quite a bit about what the class is about. And to do that, I've actually got the class queued up on my iPod here. I've got Blackboard already. So let me just get the passcode in and. And the class is showing up right now. So when you go into Blackboard for the class, obviously the first thing you'll see will be the announcements. The announcements will be the main course entry point for the entirety of the semester. So all my announcements and many of my videos will be embedded right there in the announcement section. Some other videos I'll post in other parts of the class, but I would say for the most part, the vast majority of all my videos I'm going to incorporate into the announcements section. Okay, so as you're looking through the class, of course, there's the description, information about the class, the section number. There's a photo. Speaking of Detroit, that photo was actually taken on the backside of the GM building. So anytime you see the news, and of course GM was in the news for some, I guess, less than satisfactory reasons, they always show the photo of the Renaissance Center. That's actually the name of the building. But I think most people in Detroit, I know, just call it the GM building. So that's actually on the backside facing the Detroit River, which separates, of course, Detroit from Windsor, Ontario, from the U.S. from Canada. Okay, you scroll down, and then of course information about student learning objectives. So just the standard administrative items that all of us in the history department have to put in all of our classes. So you can look at that in your own time. Course requirements, of course, obviously make sure you've got high-speed internet, or if anybody's still using DSL, you got a system that works. I would imagine that I would say it looks like it may be a large minority, or maybe close to the majority of you right now, are using tablets and smartphones to work on the class. It's far quiet, of course, when I first started doing these online classes back in 2003. So if those devices work perfectly for you, great. But I think in order to get the best look at the videos, please try to watch them on desktops, on laptops. So if you're there on campus and you want to get a better look at some of my videos, then by all means check out the computers they have there at the Grossmont LRC. Okay, scrolling down, and the books, let me quickly point out the two books for you. First, the main book. In fact, it's the book that you definitely need to pick up soon, because the reading assignments, we're not doing any readings this week. I want everybody to get adjusted to everything. So basically, your only assignment this week is to get adjusted to the class, get your books, make sure you familiarize yourselves with what's happening in the class, and then next week the readings will kick in. So you want to go ahead and pick up the volume 1 of the Who Built America text. I've been using this book for the past few years. I really like the approach that the authors take on this. It gives a little bit more of a sense of history, you might say, from the bottom up. That is history from the perspective of the working people. That is not so much the movers and shakers, so to speak. So, of course, even though coverage of guys like, say, Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, Henry Ford would be among the people that, of course, are main history movers and shakers. In terms of what the real people do, in terms of their pastimes, their games, their culture, their folklore, whether it's church functions, or going to saloons, going to bars, that type of thing, union meetings. Those are the types of things that the authors, Christopher Clark, David Hewitt, and others focus in on in this one. And then for the History 109 class, I do Volume 2 of Who Built America. So definitely pick it up soon, because next week the readings will start. Now, the next book that you need to get, and you don't really need to get this until maybe toward the end of September, first part of October at the very latest, but definitely toward the end of September, start picking this one up. This is Isabel Allende, Daughter of Fortune. This is a book that I actually used for my History of California class. So those of you who might have been with me in the spring, we're going to take a look at it again. We're going to delve a little bit deeper, and our assignment will be a little bit more complex than what we had in the spring semester. And speaking of that, I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. But I'll have a separate video about the assignment coming up toward the latter part of September, first part of October. So stay tuned for that video for more details. But this is a book which is set during the Gold Rush era in the 1850s. And even though it's technically a Latin American novel, along the lines of what people like the late great Gabriel Garcia Marquez wrote, Carlos Fuentes, the famed Mexican author, Octavio Paz, Mario Vargas Llosa, famed the Peruvian novelist. What Allende does is she does a great job of mixing U.S. history, Pacific history, that of Asian movement of people from Japan, from China, European history, and Latin American history in the port town of Valparaiso in Chile. Chile was a very significant element with respect to what was happening during the Gold Rush era. And what we're going to do is we're going to in essence put ourselves back in Chile in the 1850s and have a really unique assignment. Again, I'll say a little bit more about that in just a bit, but in more detail coming up later. And thankfully, my colleague Professor McMeekin, she's going to help me out and actually come up with some items to incorporate for the class. So I definitely thank her for her assistance, and I'll be talking to her in more detail about this sometime next month. But more about the Daughter of Fortune in just a bit. Okay, let's get back to the actual class itself, and of course, let me enter my passcode here. And get the syllabus back online. Okay, so here we go. So for about these next 10 minutes, let me go ahead and tell you what's happening with these various assignments, all the quizzes, the exams, and I think within the next 10-12 minutes, I should be able to finish up the vast majority of what the class is all about. All right, one of your first assignments, or actually one of your main assignments, is the book review assignment. What you're to do is to choose a book of your liking within the scope of the class, but make sure that your book is something that's listed within the scope of the Who Built America text, because at the end of each chapter is a list of suggested readings. It could be things such as slavery, the Native Americans, the colonists, the ones coming in, of course, from England and other parts of Europe. There's coverage there, of course, what's happening in Mexico, Mesoamerica, because, of course, before the English made their way into North America, the Spaniards were the first Europeans. So if you want to focus in on coverage of what the Spaniards did, Cortés, Pizarro, all those wacky guys, then by all means, that's one approach that you can take. And the final stages of the textbook take us in toward the Civil War era. So anything about the Civil War, to talk a little bit more about in just a bit, you can definitely go that route as well. So the due date for this isn't until Wednesday, December. Hang on, I'm kind of nearsighted here. December 10th. So December 10th, that's when this is due. I'll have more details about this as we get further into the semester. I don't think I'll need to make a separate video about this, but I'll explain more and more about this, of course, in the announcement section. Now, the one assignment that I will make a video about, and I'll have this for you, probably in the third or fourth week of the semester. So early on in the semester, I'll have this video for you. This is the EBSCO article assignment. What you're to do is you're to go into the Grossmont College LRC website and go to the section on the databases. And the databases, of course, are things which contain articles, but there's also video too. I'll talk a little bit more about video in just a second. So when you go into the EBSCO database, what you're to do is to find an article focusing in on a specific theme in early U.S. history. In the assignment section on Blackboard, and this is the same for all of the main writing assignments, I have not just description about the due dates, what you're to do, what you're not to do, but also there's assignment worksheets in PDF format. Download those, take a look at those carefully, and those tell you exactly what I'm looking for in each of these assignments. The EBSCO assignment is actually due even before the holiday season kicks in. So this is something which covers essentially about the first what I'm trying to say is that the due date is that when the due date for this is approaching, we'll still have a little bit of time left during the course of the semester. But if you want to jump ahead into a topic that maybe we haven't covered yet as your topic for the EBSCO assignment, by all means go ahead and take that approach. So again, this is going to be due on Friday, November 14th, just a little bit before Thanksgiving, and it's going to be worth 15% of your total class grade. And speaking of 15%, let me just backtrack a little bit here. The book review, that's also worth 15% of your total class grade. All right, the other item that's also worth 15% is the Daughter of Fortune assignment, which is in 2 stages. It's combined discussion forums. We're going to devote 6 weeks midway through in the middle part of the semester to the story as we follow along the adventures of Eliza Summers as she tries to track down her lover from Chile to the Goldfields of San Francisco. But of course, the story is much more than just a simple love story, so to speak. There's a lot of intriguing elements going on here, so we're going to follow along with that in 2 stages, in that the discussion forum will be devoted exclusively to the Daughter of Fortune story. I'm going to have a series of study questions in which I want everybody to look at. I want everybody to start thinking about that is, if place yourselves in the context of the story and pretend that you are part of the story, not so much a central character in Daughter of Fortune, but you're living there at the time. So you could be somebody from France, somebody from Hungary, somebody from China, from Hawaii. You're in Chile. You could be from Chicago, from South Carolina. You're interested in the gold rush, and you want to follow along with the story too by being a part of the story. So I know this seems confusing right now, everybody, but bear with me. When I make a separate video about this a little bit later on, this will be a little bit more clear. But the other thing is that besides discussions, I want you to make a video, much like I'm doing right here, in which you yourself are essentially you're trying to convince an executive from the shipping company that you want to go to California, you want to go explore the Goldfields, you want to go to San Francisco, you want to go into Sacramento, Nevada City, Sonora, Jackson, any of the Gold Rush towns, and you want to see for yourself what's happening in California. So the video portion, that is, when I want you to make your video, I want you to create your videos and post them, and ideally I want everybody to create your own YouTube account and post your videos to YouTube and then link those back to the class. I know this might sound a little bit confusing right now, but again, when I make my video, in fact, I'll probably make about 2 or 3 how-to videos. When those are ready for you around the, I would say about the latter part of September, first part of October, I think that'll be a little bit more crystal clear. So again, don't worry too much about the details now. Just be aware of this. In about a month from now, I'll start giving you a lot more details in terms of what you have to do. All right. One more writing assignment is the video review assignment. This is where you watch 2 videos during the course of the semester, and you obtain these videos through the Films on Demand database, which is listed in the Grossmont LRC website. So much like with EBSCO, in which you go through the Grossmont LRC website, you do the same thing for the video assignments. Go to the Films on Demand database and then choose 2 videos. You have several choices of videos to choose from. There are 2 due dates to this. The first due date, and again, let me take my glass off so I can see. So I can see this. Okay, the first due date is Friday, October 10th. This is something which pertains to roughly about the first half of the class, so the American Revolution, the French and Indian War, those are topics you can examine. And then the second due date, this takes into a Friday, December 5th. That pertains to the second half of the class, so the Gold Rush, the Civil War. Those are about the 2 main areas that you can focus in on. But I will have a separate video about this assignment coming up in the next few weeks. So I'll try to get this video to everybody for sure sometime next month. I'll try to get it to everybody about the first, for sure, by the second week of September. All right, and this thing is also counts as 15%. So each one 7.5%. So the totality of your 2 video assignments, your 2 video reviews, that clocks in at 15%. All right, that's the last of the writing assignments. The next assignment is called the Podcast Journal, which you're to go to iTunes and listen to audio podcast from Professor Richard Moss. He's out of school in Harrisburg, in the capital of Pennsylvania. And you're to listen to a series of his podcasts and then write your impressions, write your thoughts in the Podcast Journal section located within Blackboard. So for this one, you don't turn in anything to me written. That's what you do, of course, with the video assignment, the EBSCO assignment, and the book review. But this one, you just enter in your answers into Blackboard, write your impressions. In fact, what I'll do is I'll have a video, my next video that I have for you will be about the podcast assignment. In fact, this will be a combined video in which the 109 class, they're doing podcasts also. So I'll make it a joint venture so that you guys in this class and then everybody in History 109 class can watch together to see how to get how to download the podcast and listen to them by going to iTunes. Don't be alarmed that you have to buy anything. So I've already had a couple of inquiries, concerns about going into iTunes, and if you're concerned about cost, that's not going to be an issue. It's not like you're buying albums from, say, well, I don't know, and again, kind of using 1970s people here, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, Boz Scaggs, Steely Dan, the Bee Gees, the list goes on and on. But again, there's something that you're not obligated, that you don't have to buy. You can these are free podcasts. But in my next video, which I'll have for you, if I don't get that to you tomorrow, Thursday, then for sure by Friday of the first week, I'll have that video for you with more details about this. But the totality of your podcast entries, there are 14 altogether, make up 100 points. And those 100 points then constitute 10% of your final class grade. Oh, and on that note about grades, before I talk about the quizzes and the final exam, those are the last 2 things I want to talk a little bit more about. What I'm going to be doing for your grades is using a weighted total column. So when you add up, when you see your points for things such as the podcast drills and especially for the quizzes and the final exam, don't add up all your points and think, oh, well I got 1,044 points. That puts me at that category. I'm on my way to a B. No, don't do that. Don't add up all the points because it's going to be a little bit misleading. I'm using a weighted total in that I'm taking the total points for that specific item and multiplying it by the percentage that it's worth in the class. And to illustrate that point, let me go ahead and jump onto the to the quizzes to better illustrate what that's all about. In terms of assessment, that is exams, quizzes, finals, midterms, all that fun stuff, there are two stages that you have. There's going to be a series of 15 quizzes that pertain to the readings from Who Built America. A little bit about PowerPoint programs. I forgot to mention PowerPoint will also be included along with the readings throughout the course of the semester. I have a separate section there in Blackboard with all the PowerPoint programs. So besides the readings, which I've listed on the schedule at the end of the syllabus, look at the PowerPoint programs as well. So after each week, I'm going to open up a quiz, and the quiz will be open for a week, and then any time during that week, take that quiz. There's about a 2-hour time frame in which you take the quiz. Each quiz will have a study guide. In fact, I think the study guide's right now already available. I'll double check. I'll double check on that for you guys. But each quiz is going to be 30 questions. Covering most information from Who Built America, a little bit from the PowerPoint, but mostly Who Built America. And each quiz will count as 99.9 points. You see, I can't go from 30 to 100 for mathematical reasons. So the closest I can get is to make each question worth 3.33 points, so that at the end of the day, your score will be in the range of almost 100 points, 99.9 points. Now, when you finish off the semester and you take your 15 quizzes, it's going to be the average of your best 13. So your 2 lowest scores get discarded automatically. So for example, you complete your 15 quizzes. Maybe you missed one because of work matters, family matters, and then another one you scored maybe a 68. Well, obviously, the one that you missed gets tossed out, and the one that was a 68, that gets tossed out. So if your average of the 13 that you took was, say, 91, 92, then it's that 91, 92, the average of the 13, which will go in the final tabulation. And that 91 or 92, I'm going to multiply that by 15%. So it's the 15% times 91. That point total right there, that's the one I'm going to tabulate into your final grade calculations. But again, don't want you to worry too much about the grades just yet, and how the point structure is going to be set up. When we get toward the end of the semester, especially around Thanksgiving, maybe right after Thanksgiving, I will of course talk a lot more about this, and I will have another video in which I better outline how the grade structure is going to be. And speaking of grades, the last item for the class is the final exam. That's cumulative. It covers everything from day one all the way to the end of the semester, so from the Native Americans through to the Civil War period. But unlike the quizzes, you'll have the advantage in that you'll have access to all of the questions way before the due date. So roughly about the middle part of September, 3rd or 4th week of September, I'm going to release to you the entire final exam in PDF format. It's a series of short answer questions, short essay, and your job then is to choose the questions you want to answer and write your answers directly into Blackboard. So, like with the podcast journal entries, write your answers into Blackboard. Don't send me files. Don't send me attachments in Doc, DocX, RTF, PDF, Apple Pages. Use that for the writing assignments. So all the writing assignments I want, of course, in Microsoft Word, whether it's Doc or DocX, Apple Pages, or stuff in RTF or PDF format. But for the final exam, just write your answers directly into Blackboard, compose your short essay answers, and put those into Blackboard. The due date for the final exam is way at the end of the semester. In fact, I'm going to give you until the Saturday coming into finals week. So Saturday, December 13th. That's the due date in which I want all your answers for the final exam. But again, you'll have access to all the questions on the final coming up about the middle part of next month. So when that's almost ready for it to be released, I will definitely let you know about that. Okay, let's see. After the information about the quiz and final exam, you have the schedule. So for this week, as I mentioned earlier, no need to worry about anything right now in terms of writing, reading assignments, or checking out okay. Yeah. So no podcast just yet. Everything kicks in next week. So again, use the rest of this week to get acquainted with everything. Pick up the textbooks, especially Who Built America, and then. At the end of the syllabus, of course, I've got the usual guidelines about things such as cheating, plagiarism, standard stuff. Those of you who are going through who need assistance, that is, you're with a DS, PPS, if you need extra accommodations, let me know right away. Send me the information that is sent by email. With the PDF file that is about your status with the SPS, and then last, I do have the course grading structure, which points out how much everything is worth during the context of the class. And with that, I don't think I need to say too much more. But if I happen to miss anything, or you see something from the class that needs clarification, let me know as soon as possible. But as I suggested in my video on Monday, start getting into the habit of using messages for Professor. You don't need to rely on contacting me by email right now. I know at the beginning of the semester I definitely understand it, but now. Let's keep all class communications within Blackboard itself. So if you contact me through messages for Professor, and again, make sure you choose Oscar Cañedo Instructor from the list of people in the class. I actually have two accounts within Blackboard. One is as the instructor, but one as a student. So if you write to just plain Oscar Cañedo, chances are I'm not going to see that. So but if you want to send me something and you want me to see it right away and reply to within a 24-hour time frame, then definitely contact me as Oscar Cañedo Instructor. And as I said in my video on Monday, during the school week, I'll reply to you within a 24-hour time frame. On weekends, just give me a bit more time, most likely 48 hours. So if you write to me on a Friday night, like I don't know, 10:30, 11 p.m., chances are I might not reply to you all weekend long. Sometimes I may, sometimes I won't. But don't be surprised if I reply to you, don't reply to you until Monday morning, the following Monday at 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m., 9:30, and so forth. But again, for the rapid response, make sure you give me a 24-hour lead time during the course of the regular school week. Okay, anything else I need to mention here? All right, no, that pretty much covers it. So that's it here from the Winchester French Valley headquarters. My next video for you will be about the podcast journal assignment, so I should have that ready for you. If not tomorrow, Thursday, then for sure by Friday that'll be ready for you. All right, so good luck to all of you for the rest of the week. I know this video ran a little bit long, but I want to make sure I cover everything as much as possible so that there's no confusion about anything as we start getting going in the semester. Okay, that's it from here. You guys take care. Good luck the rest of the week, and I'll see you guys again very soon with the podcast journal video.